A failure is not always a mistake. It may simply be the best one can do under the circumstances. The real mistake is to stop trying. Education is what survives when what has been learned has been forgotten. The real problem is not whether machines think, but whether men do. A person who has been punished is not less inclined to behave in a given way. At best, he learns how to avoid punishment. The environment shapes people's actions. Properly used, positive reinforcement is extremely powerful. Society attacks early when the individual is helpless. Behavior used to be reinforced by great deprivation. If people weren't hungry, they wouldn't work. Now we are committed to feeding people whether they work or not. Nor is money as great a reinforcer as it once was. People no longer work for punitive reasons, yet our culture offers no new satisfactions. The feeling of being interested can act as a kind of neurological signal, directing us to fruitful areas of inquiry. The environment will continue to deteriorate until pollution practices are abandoned. We have not yet seen what man can make of man. You can get along very well in this world by simply coming up with a quantity of reasonably valid statements. I never really expected to be controversial. No theory changes what it is a theory about. Man remains what he has always been. Give me a child and I'll shape him into anything. The way positive reinforcement is carried out is more important than the amount. When you run into something interesting, drop everything else and study it. I did not direct my life. I didn't design it. I never made decisions. Things always came up and made them for me. That's what life is. The consequences of an act affect the probability of its occurring again. We shouldn't teach great books, we should teach a love of reading. If you insist that individual rights are the summum bonum, then the whole structure of society falls down. What is sought can never produce the seeking. I'm very pessimistic. I am opposed to the military use of animals. I am also opposed to the military use of men. I don't know whether I want to improve religion or not. I prefer to get rid of it. Those few people who do respond to the dire conditions of the future, journalists, environmentalists, behavioral scientists, tend not to be powerful. The people who control the condition in which we live have no reason to think beyond more than the next 5 or 10 years. The best and most beautiful things in the world cannot be seen or even touched. They must be felt with the heart. Keep your face always toward the sunshine, and shadows will fall behind you. Start by doing what's necessary, then do what's possible, and suddenly you are doing the impossible. Don't judge each day by the harvest you reap, but by the seeds that you plant. Clouds come floating into my life, no longer to carry rain or usher storm, but to add color to my sunset sky. The ideal of behaviorism is to eliminate coercion. to apply controls by changing the environment in such a way as to reinforce the kind of behavior that benefits everyone. I have to tell people that they are not responsible for their behavior. They're not creating it, they're not initiating anything. It's all found somewhere else. That's an awful lot to relinquish. I remember when I was a freshman in college, I was still somewhat bothered by, worried about religion. I remember going to this professor of philosophy and telling him that I had lost my faith. Nothing is impossible, the word itself says, I'm possible. Someone is sitting in the shade today because someone planted a tree a long time ago.